Hello everyone, my name is Mariel Reyes Galvez, but you can call me Mari. Welcome back to the Power to People podcast episode with this segment that I love and is so near and dear to my heart called Power to the Poet. Today I am joined by our very own Toni House.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It's your boy, Tony, aka I don't know, bruh.
AKA Mr. President.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this podcast, so
Oh, no, you're
I'll
good.
just say, yeah.
Whatever it is. Literally, this is a space for being yourself. As we were talking about in our discussion about, expressing yourself, I hope Power to the People podcast, and especially Power to the Poet, is a place where people can come express themselves. I have a deep admiration for people who can do that. So just as we were talking about, this is the way that we express ourselves, is through poetry, and that's what makes real poetry, is as long as you're being yourself, expressing yourself. I think that made me think of, okay, so what is the admiration I can take for Mari in the past expressing herself this way? What is it that I was feeling in this moment? So that's what I'm channeling now.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what you're talking about, bruh.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
I'm just joking.
I was like, did I just ramble? I'm so sorry.
Really, that's all it's about, man. It's authenticity,
Just so y'all
And
know, off camera, everybody's so nice to me. Everybody's like, oh my god, Mari, you're the best. I would not have gotten here without you. On camera, everybody's just like, no, Mari, you're insane. You're crazy. No.
that's a lie. We talk shit about you. You
To
wanna do that to your face
my
off on
face.
podcast?
Yeah, only when we start playing games. I hate you guys so much.
Oh, you're doing the same thing as always.
I'm not good at it anymore. I've gone soft.
That
Okay.
is true, though.
All right. Toni, what got you into writing in the first place? I want to know. How did this happen?
Ooh, okay. Writing poetry came from a need to express the anger that I had inside.
Hmm.
And what I meant by that is, um, when I was young, I used to I listened to like a lot of Tupac, um, and he was just my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
And just everything he was like talking about, as far as like the government and
Yeah.
as America, it made me dive into more about like politics and what is
Yeah.
wrong with.
He's an amazing poet.
Yeah, for sure. And from that music, it spawned into that. And then with the researching and all of that, I was just like, damn, like, how can I get this anger out when I can't
Mm.
do it at school? You
Mm.
know what I mean? And doing it outside in public, like, it was cool, but like, I didn't feel like I was making any change, you know? And
Mm.
so, that's my teacher, handed me, The Rose I Grew from Concrete,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and man, after reading that, it was
Iconic.
just, yeah, man, like, he didn't only talk about positive, he talked about his own trauma, you know what I
Right.
mean? The stuff he was going through.
Right.
And it resonated with me because, like, growing up poor and, with a broken home and all that, like, I had so
Mm-hmm.
much to get off of my chest. And
Right.
so that inspired me to write. And so, um, I just went straight into poetry that way. And ever since then, like, I just never put the pen down, really.
I love that. I feel like are we all living the same life? Because I remember in middle school, we also got presented with a lot of Tupac songs, a lot of Tupac lyrics. Maybe we just had dope ass teachers who were African American teachers. Yeah, I had a lot of African American teachers who were um, my English teachers, and they had so much dope ass shit to show us all the time. And Tupac was just the go-to, and it was beautiful to hear all of the lyrics that he had written, and I don't know, it was just more than inspiring, it was triggering, and it was pushing. If you had it in you and you heard Tupac and you read all of the poems that he had to write, it was hard not to do it yourself too.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have many like minority teachers growing up. Like that was like I think
I got lucky. I'm sorry if I just assumed.
no, you all good, man. Really, I think the people who like introduced me to Tupac was actually my mom. Like she was one of my and I think what really made me like Tupac was the fact that he was just unapologetically himself, and he
Definitely.
broke out of the chains of conformity, in my mind, you know. And for me, that's all I was going through at that time was people trying to mold me into like the perfect American citizen. I went to Catholic school, you know, by all these white teachers, you know what I mean. And I had a lot of teachers, and my best friend, I remember we was like in class, you know,
Right.
and I remember, I remember like we was watching a movie or whatever like that for class, and I remember me and them were like joking and shit like that, and the teacher came down on us, told us to see her after school. So I went to see her after school. And I remember like the one thing that stood out to me in that whole conversation was when she told me like I wasn't gonna be anything in life. You know what I mean? That was one thing she told me, and after that, you know, talking to my friends, I realized she told them that as well. It was all minority students,
What a
and
bitch. What
exactly.
a bitch. You just going around telling all these black and brown babies they ain't gonna be shit. Fuck you. Oh my god.
It was some bullshit. And just when I got into Tupac, it was just like all this anger and all this feeling I had inside of like I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I don't want to conform to this bullshit. You know what I mean? And all that stuff. That's just what really inspired me. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie. My mom got mad at me when I was younger because the
Right.
one thing all he said was, "Mom, I'm gonna die one day," and she was
Oh
like, "What?"
my
And I
god.
was like, "I'd be like Tupac." I was
Oh
sitting there,
my god.
I'm gonna die one day. She's like, "Don't say that." You know what I mean? And I didn't understand as a kid why until now.
But they wonder. They wonder why we say shit like this. We look up to people like Tupac. And there was a whole, I don't know if you remember middle school, but I think it was a lot bigger in middle school than it is right now, or like in our generation right now, where the older generations will say, I don't understand why they look up to rappers and to these people. They're so problematic. Da, da, da. If you're going around telling all of these black and brown babies that they ain't gonna be shit in life, they're gonna look up to the person who is assertive, who can stand their ground, and who everybody's afraid of. Like,
Exactly.
and also, like, that just goes back to, I can't believe how many of us have this same traumatic ass experience of some fucking white teacher telling us we ain't gonna be shit in life. That's so fucked.
And it's crazy, man, because like
Because so many students can retell you that experience. So many.
exactly. And the crazy thing is like even if the teacher hasn't told you straight up that,
They've implied it.
just by yeah, they imply it, even just by how they treat the minority students in school shows that they don't give a fuck about any of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes. And so, like you said, they wonder why we look up to these rappers and people like that. It's because they come exactly where we're from. They understand us. You know what I mean? And despite it all, they made it without conforming. They
Right.
made it
Right.
like we can see ourselves in them. I'm not gonna look up to fucking Ryan Reynolds or fucking Dwayne Johnson like me. You know what I mean?
Dead
Like
ass.
that's the thing, and they wonder why we worship. Not worship, but as a child, we did worship them.
Right. Right. We idolize these people.
And you know, and that's the reason why we have so many kids wanting to be, you know, rappers, football players, basketball players. Because at the end of the day, also those are the only ways we have to get out of the hood. You know what I mean? Like people think it's easy to just go and get a job and to stay in school. Like we got a family we gotta provide for. Like you don't understand. Mom's working, you know what I mean, like 2 jobs still have all these kids, still can barely put food on the table. So we're going to be like some as the man in the house, like, okay, let us go do it too.
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So what that turns into. Some people are going over there selling dope. You know what I mean? Some people over here going to play football. Some people are rapping, trying to, make it big so
Right.
they can get their family out of poverty. You know, we idolize people because they show us that there is a way out.
Right.
You know what I mean? They did it while being authentic. They did it while being black. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Conform.
Damn. Oh, I love it. I love it. Not the situation. I love that that's where your love for poetry stems from. um, but yeah, can you talk, if you want to, if you don't want to spoil it too much, you could just get into the poetry piece if you want to, unless you want to give us a little premise as to what it's about, and then move into it however you want.
Okay. I think I'll perform it and then
Okay.
get into what it's
Okay.
about.
I feel special. I'm an audience of one.
Oh man, this is so nerve-wracking being in front of a camera.
You want
All
me to
right.
turn off my camera so you don't see me? Don't look at me.
It's all good, man.
Okay, okay.
Okay. What does it mean to be a black poet? A dynamic yet perceived individual. An artist in your own right, what does it mean to talk about your life? I dare to talk about my people, my oppression on a worn down mic. A podium in front of millions, how can you expect me to relive my plight? Living 1,000 times like ice on an everlasting lake. Perhaps it will go away for some time, but it'll always find its way back. The people of luminous Africa, perhaps that was once my past. But I don't know Africa. I can't recall the memories of a place unknown. I can only tell you my story, one filled with struggle and thrones. A story of a black man who lives even when the stones are thrown. I am more than just my pain, a black man born to laugh and grow. I laugh on the lips of sunsets that drip with jambalaya and gumbo. Playgrounds filled with double dutch, basketballs filled with stardust. What does it mean to be a black poet? To write about love and nonsense. To hear about people say, oh my God, my mom had that painting too. I want to share the memories, the love my people have shown me. To pay homage to my ancestors on an altar made of black ink. To be a black poet is to be skilled with diversity. Is to talk about the good times but also fight against the bad. It's a duality and singularity, a black man on the cusp of humanity. We talk about love and also lust, the feeling I get when I see black romance. It's fuck the pigs in blue and pass me the ball so I can shoot. Being a black poet is revolutionary. It's showing every version of you that despite what they did to us, we live in every single hue. There you go.
God damn! Oh my god! I love it. Well, um, there's a lot of things I get from that, but I would like to hear it from you.
Yeah. I mean, shit. So this poem really, it came from one day. Like I've been on this journey really of like figuring out what does it mean to
Mm-hmm.
not even what it means to be a black poet, but it's kind of finding my place in poetry as a black
Right.
man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? At one point, I wanted to talk about all the injustice going on in America. You know what I mean? But then at another point, it's like I want to just talk about love and light and life and you know what I mean, and all the other things that comes with being black. You know, it's like a duality where it's like, oh yeah, all the white people want me to just talk about the activist stuff and to educate people and all of that, and they want to see that. But then on the other hand, you know, I'm so much more than that, right? But then a part of me is like, damn, if I only write about stuff like that, if I
Mm-hmm.
only write about sunshine and rainbows and Ohio and stuff like that, like
Right.
another part of me that's like, damn, I want to talk about that too,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be put in a box. And so that whole poem was me questioning, like, okay, what does it mean to be a black poet? In my opinion,
Right.
what does that mean for me? And that was really just me, you know, kind of talking to myself, saying like, look, to be a black poet means to be all of it, to be more than just your struggle. You know what I mean? To be more than just, the shit that every white person talks about. You know what I mean? You're all of it. And you can write about all of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's to be you and to be dynamic. to challenge the status quo and to challenge what poetry means to everyone else. You know what I mean? Um, and so that's where I got it from.
Damn. Goddamn. Goddamn. Alright. First, I'm happy this is happening. Now it feels like after forever. And number two, I feel like you bring up. Do you ever notice how I think our generation is starting to seek and trying to reconnect with our roots? A lot of what I saw happening early pandemic, like early 2020, is, I have all this time on my hands. Who recommends Black and Indigenous authors that I could read, that I can, listen to, that I can, do XYZ? There's a lot of them out there. Why are they so hard to find?
Yeah.
Why are we so hard to find? Why are we not what's mainstream? Like, we are minorities. We're starting to become the majority, if not we already are. And yet our poetry, our art, our film and photography is so hard to find.
Sure.
I wonder, and a lot of what I got from your poem, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is like that cry, it's not a cry for help. It's a cry for, I'm here, and I may not fit the status quo, but I'm fucking here, and I'm important, and what I have to say matters, and not just for the moment, and not just for the trend. It matters every fucking day, because it's every day of your life.
Mm-hmm. No, yes, you actually hit it on the nose, man. Like, that's actually one of the feelings I was feeling when I was writing this poem, because, I mean, you've seen my growth on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that, and it's like, fuck, man, being a poet that's Black is so fucking hard, and it's so fucking draining, you know what I mean? Because it's like, at one point, it's like, okay, so I'm like searching my mind for the right words, but it's like, it feels as though like no one will notice you unless you, I guess, like, hide the part of you that's Black. It's either you hide the part of you that's Black, or you take the part of you that's Black but struggle. Those are the two areas that they want. And for me, it's like, I couldn't fit in any of those boxes, and I was like, fuck, why is it that, like, I started like a year ago, this white person started a month ago, and I already have like 500 fucking people, I only have like fucking 200, why is it that, I don't know if you remember this on Instagram, it was at the height of Black Lives Matter movement and everything like that, and I was putting out a whole bunch of just like poetry that, was all about like activism, stuff like that, and not even a lot of my poems are about that, you know what I mean? I write about everything. But it's funny because when I try to promote any of my poetry, Instagram flagged me as too political.
Oh my God.
And that pissed me off. I was like, how am I too political? When literally all I was talking about in my poems was literally being Black. That was all. It was just coming from a Black narrative, and they didn't like that. But all these other white people can make all of these fucking posts about politics.
Right.
And they can promote them.
Right.
But when I write about something that's about being Black, and that's a Black narrative, I'm censored.
Yeah.
And I felt the pressure to where I had to not talk about it. And, I was like, I'm not going to do that. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. And even if you look at, like, publishing companies, how many publishing companies have a huge amount of Black poets, Black writers? Not a lot.
And that's why we struggle, right? To find those authors, to find those poets, and we're like, somebody please help me and recommend to me. Exactly. It should be at my fingertips. It should be at my fingertips. I should know where to look. I should be able to have that, but it's not marketed to us, and our experience is not marketable. Why?
And it's so annoying. I mean, it literally feels as though not only are you competing with other poets, which, I mean, I don't want to say competing because, I mean, you know, I don't feel as though I should be competing with other people,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels as though you're competing with other poets, to
Mm-hmm.
get noticed. But at
Right.
the same time, you're also competing for being a minority.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is you're competing with the obstacles that comes with that. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I can't just hide my face behind my words. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to.
Right.
I can easily do that, but I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're open and authentic as a poet and talking about your minority experiences, it's like, yeah, so you just got through all these obstacles of, competing with all these poets, but you're a minority. You have a narrative that's too controversial, or you're a minority and you want more white.
Right.
No, they're not.
Yeah. We just get snubbed, period.
Exactly.
Like, that's the reality of it. But, well, I love it. Anything else you have on that piece before we move forward?
Now what even you got?
I'm so scared. All right, pardon if my angle becomes weird. I'm going to put my piece in front of me and I'm going to move my Discord over to a second screen. So if I talk to you and I look this way, I'm still talking to you. I just have my poem in front of me. Oh, wow, this lighting is not doing me any favors, but it's fine. We don't care about the lighting. We care about the words. Okay. Whew. I think I already prefaced it a little bit to you, but it's called We Are the System, and just like you did, I'm just going to get into it. Okay. I'm scared.
You got this, man. You got this.
Okay. How much longer will it take for us to see that we are waging a war against ourselves? Have we forgotten that we are the children of racism? We are the children of black and brown slaves who have not only been slaves to their masters, but slaves to their silence, and continue to do so today. It is truly amazing. So amazing we've become used to this system, and we think it's a system of greatness, freedom, opportunity. Did I mention freedom? A system of privilege, power, gain, love, hope, happiness. Did I say freedom? Faith, renewal, and freedom. Let's not forget to mention the truth as well, a system of stupidity and greed. We are the system of the lost, the oppressed, and confused, a system of loss and failure, a system of the poor and the forgotten, the unfair and tormented, a system of the passive so we don't think that we're part of the problem, which is exactly why we are the system of segregation, Jim Crow laws, zoot suit riots, boycotts, marches, massacres, police brutality, sexism, genital mutilation, a system where a school named after Robert E. Lee, a general who fought for slavery, is 89% African American. Don't say you can't see the fucking irony. A system that shames the LGBTQ, a system that has forgotten that gangs were once created to protect the community, because I can bet that most of us don't even know that CRIP stands for Community Revolutionary and Inter-Party Service. But when everyone looks down on you, now you have no choice but to turn to crime in order to survive. A savior is exactly what you are not. Racism is still alive and breathing, but now lurks in the shadows and is everywhere. We are the system that actually has to remind people to not be intoxicated while they drive. This system where a woman thinks she needs male approval to be attractive and vice versa. Should I continue, or am I not being clear enough? Or should I not tell you that by being passive, you are being part of the problem? We do not see that you can be a feminist and still be male, because feminism doesn't mean that females are the superior sex and neither are males. It means both genders fighting to be equal. You can be a bystander and still be part of the problem, because you'll say, I'm not racist, yet you have the power to change this, but you sit back and watch in horror, and what do? Nothing. Look who our school is named after. For reference, I went to a school named after Dr. Martin Luther King. And look around you. Who inhabits this school now? Mostly African American Latino students. What has happened to the motivation of a pastime? Did it die off? Look at our past and look at our ancestors who fought so hard to change the system. Why can't you do that now? But this is not supposed to be real. It didn't exist according to our system. And when those of us who did not agree, we did not choose conformity, we came together and we say, fuck the system, guess what? The system fucks you over instead. And it's a never-ending war. You want examples? MLK. MLK was shot. Rosa Parks was jailed. Cesar Chavez is dead. The Freedom Riders beaten. Ethnic studies departments are banned. Gandhi jailed. Nelson Mandela jailed. JFK shot. Lincoln shot. Emmett Till dead. Susan B. Anthony tortured. Malala shot. The Brown Berets, the Black Panthers, the NAACP, the Red Dragons, all of the above. You get it. But do you also understand that we allow the system to exist by saying, well, there's not much I can do to change it, red, and it will be a never-ending war against ourselves. Only we can change this white, because by the looks of it, we are the system blue. A system that has allowed hierarchy to become its highest priority and has used fear and death as a weapon. We who suffer from it are the foundation. So don't you dare tell me that we are not the system, because we built, funded, created, outlined, and entertained the system that we are. For decades, our parents and grandparents and the people before them had tried to turn this over. They said, fuck the system, and the system fucked them instead. For so long, I saw them as heroes. But now let it be known, they were puppets. They were a variable in an equation to make us happy, you and I. We see this every single day. So here's the real question. Why do we not want to see it? I'm talking to you. Why do you complain and yet do nothing? All this talk about change, all this talk about freedom, and no walk to prove that you want it, to prove that we need it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be another critic. I will be the change. That is all.
Well, you don't know how many times I wanted to just fucking yell out. Oh my fucking god, man. That was so good.
Thank you. I was like, bro, there were moments where I would pause it and I was like, should I read this line? I'm gonna read it.
I'm glad you read it all. That was so good. And I'm like, every line. Every line someone had to like hear it. That poem had layers. Layers on layers, and it was powerful.
Bro.
What was this at?
I don't know. I just I feel like I've been so, here's the thing. Ironic that I make this poem, We Are the System. I get recruited by TFA. It's probably going to be redacted as I talk because we don't know what my relationship to them looks like right now. And like, then I'm working for the system, you know what I mean? And I've been stuck in this loop. This poem written in like 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, like 6 years. Wait, what? 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. 6 years later, I'm like doing all the things that I said I wasn't going to do. I ended up working for the financial institutions. I thought I was going to be a corporate baddie and climb the ranks. And then for the longest time, I sat back, I complained. Instead of getting involved, instead of being in community. Sometimes we just burn the fuck out. And although everything 17-year-old Mari is saying, this is so true. Like, yes, there was layers to it. And I feel like I put absolutely everything I could think of. We complain about racism. We complain about, feminism, X, Y, and Z. But sometimes we just burn out. That shit is so hard. It's so hard to wake up every day, brown, Latina, and queer, and be like, holy shit, this world doesn't want me here. Every day. And 17-year-old Mari was barely starting to step into that. And I think immediately with this poem, you can hear all of the shit hitting me at once. All of the connections and all of the dots and all of like the math that I was doing in my head. It all came together. And now I read this back as 22-year-old Mari and I'm like, shit. But it's hard. How do we break this cycle? How do we not be the system when we have to actively live in it to survive? How do I actively not be capitalism when I need a job to live? How do I actively, fight against all of this when it's beating my ass every day?
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like the question you're asking and what you talked about in this poem, like the biggest thing, like even like in college, when I talk to the other black people here, the thing that is always hard for us to deal with and to accept and to navigate is the question: how do you fight against the system that you have to live in? How can you fight against capitalism when you need it to survive in a capitalistic country? And that's what we're trying to figure out. And I think at the end of the day, like what we talked about before this episode this episode started, when I said that we are not the same people as we were 6 years ago, and your poetry will change and all that stuff. Well, I think at the end of the day, you have grown up, and I think looking back at this, you realize, like, damn, I was speaking all this shit, you know what I mean? And now look at me, But you fail to realize also that the same person who was crying out in that poem, the same person who had that fire, she's still here. I mean, if she wasn't, would we be making this fucking podcast episode now? If she wasn't, would you be out here and every single thing that you're doing, you're still advocating for my students, And even at the end of the day, like, let's be honest, bruh. You picked me out of a lot of people and helped me step into my power. So yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, when you said fuck the system fucks you. You have to find a way how to navigate it. And it's hard, man, but I mean, I think this poem was really trying to, it's a message to us, but I think, like you said, like it's a message to older you, and damn, that shit was powerful. And it's just, it's crazy because it embodies so much of what we were, but even now, all feeling and thinking, So I'm gonna be honest, like, shit, the layers I was in there. There's just so much, like talking about our parents and our grandparents who at the end of the day, like, stood up, and still got fucked by the system because this system never loved them. You know what I mean? Everyone you named off of too. I'm gonna be honest. That was the point. That was the part. That's my body, bro.
You ascended.
Nah, still. It's powerful, man. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. This is your poem.
No, you are so good. Like, it is refreshing. Number one, I didn't know that I could deliver that the way that I did just now. I was like, damn, I'm probably gonna stumble a lot. And I did. But I feel like it was just because English is my second language. Just hearing it come from my own mouth again, it's a huge reminder. And it's also like, can I do this again? I was able to produce this 5-6 years ago. Can I still do that? I gave up on writing. At the same time, I feel like I started to leave community and I started to leave social justice work. And the minute I became part of the system, this just kind of like wasn't me no more. Because I was like, I don't want like my bosses to hear me complaining about this and then. I don't want to step on people's toes and whatever. And when we initially started this podcast, you heard me say that a lot back to back to back to back. I don't know if I can say this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. And I was just like, fuck it. Like, I feel like the feelings that this also brings is like, fuck it, the world's burning anyway. Why not? I have a lot of shit to say. 17-year-old Mari had a lot of shit to say. I want to go to this, like, specific part. I think, for deeper context as to where this came from. So, in high school, my classmates thought it was, like, an insult to call me the activist. It wasn't seen as like a good thing. I would walk around and I would just like, oh, the activist. Like, she thinks she can change the system. She thinks she can, like, do this, she do that. That's really where this poem was coming from. And that's why I made a reference to the high school that I was attending at the time. And I was like, yo, this shit is in our hands. Like, we really can do something to change it. And I still fully believe that, although I still grapple with that concept from actually, like, living in the system now. But I think the more people we have going, well, it's fucked, whatever, the less, shit's gonna get better. And why is it such a crazy concept to look out into the world and be like, I want to do something to help it, when it's fucked? Like, I'm just trying to help you, help me, help us, help we, like, why is that something to ridicule? I don't understand.
There's something that, like, this brought up to me, and it brought up something that I said in one of my poems, which this is not profound at all, in my opinion. But it was something that I felt. And the line goes, every time I write, I say nothing because there's nothing new to say. We just regurgitate our pleas back, knowing vomiting creates internal issues. And it's something that has resonated with me recently, because I wrote that poem recently. And it comes back to what you were saying, and it's just like, what you said, like, just, it made me think of that, because it's like, I feel like as writers, as minorities, we're always asking, always pleading and always saying the same fucking thing.
Preaching to the choir.
And at a point, I literally would be writing, and I'm just like, fuck, I said this 1,000 times, many different ways, and how the fuck is no one going to hear me? Like you said, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And the line where it says vomiting creates internal issues, it's like what you said about the system fucks you. It's like, as we're pleading, as we're yelling, as we're screaming, as we are vomiting all of this out, you know what I mean? As we getting all this out, at the end of the day, it hurts us, Rather it be socially, politically, internally, you know what I mean? This is not an easy thing to do. Being Mari the activist, it's like, at the end of the day, like, growing up, and everyone calling you that and stuff like that, like, yeah, at a point it's like, that's a good thing, But at a point, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I know when I started immersing activism, when I started speaking out and stuff like that, I've lost friends. I've internally, I've felt, it felt crazy, because it's like, I know it's the right thing to do and everything like that. But as you're fighting for change, at the end of the day, like, you are breaking yourself down emotionally. You're living out these traumas. You're trying to tell people, like, look at this. You know what I mean? We're seeing all these people die on camera.
Mm.
We have to share these out to the world, and when we're sharing it, we're reliving trauma over and over and over
Right,
again.
right.
It's just hard. And I don't really know what you said I spawned that in me, but it's just like it's hard.
It's like
You know?
yelling out into the void, man. It's like, why? Why are we still going through this after decades and decades of like us trying to push for change and us trying to push for human rights? And why
Yeah,
is it so difficult? Like,
and it's
you.
understandable that you got. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Oh
no,
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 no.
no. I was done.
Okay. And it's understandable that you got like so you're at a point. And you said it was tiring, and now you're doing this and that and this and that, and you feel like you've performed. It does get tiring, and I think it goes back to what this shit gonna come back to Tupac a lot. It comes back to what Tupac said, and this still lives with me to this day. And it was, and I'm not gonna say word for because I don't know what word for, but it's like, um, the best moment to be an activist and to stand up and to make change, to be a loudmouth. It's while you're young.
Mm,
Because when you're older, it's like they take the soul of a man away.
right.
You know, they beat you down enough, and you just get tired of doing it. You're like, it's like done. You know, and I see that so much with my parents. My mom would come home and tell me about all the racism she faced at work, and it's like at a point you can see it in her eyes. It's like she's tired,
Mm,
and it's like she still stands up for herself and all that stuff. At a point, it's like you can see in her eyes, it's like this is the system.
yeah.
This is how it is,
Yeah.
you know. And as kids, we're like, we gotta change that.
Yeah.
As you get older, sometimes that fire starts going away, and it's like, how do you keep that fire?
Literally.
That's the question.
Literally. I think the jobs that I hold right now are definitely resparking, like very differently now for 22-year-old Madi versus 17-year-old Madi. But I don't know. I want to not be afraid because I read this, and before I read this, I was like, I'm nervous, I'm still nervous for the next one because the next one is got a lot of fuck you, fuck this, fuck that, and I'm very vulgar when I write poetry. I'm very vulgar when I like write in general. But like I'm mad. I'm pissed. Oh, aren't you? Like, are you not mad with me? Like, is this not all of the things you wish you could say that you feel deep inside? So I don't know if like what I do is just frustration poetry and frustration with like the system and like how we live in the system and how I'm trying to fight it and still live in it and how it just feels like over and over again we put ourselves here. Like how as a humanity do we keep hurting each other like this, and why? And why do we excuse it as just like, well, it's human nature it's survival of the fittest? Like, humanity has not evolved this. Like, we live in the era of Elon Musk sending shit into space. We live in the era of NFTs and Bitcoin, and we still can't learn to treat each other with respect. And we still can't see each other as that. Humans.
It's a mind game. I mean, let's be honest. The rich is there to hold power. Who's mainly the rich? The white people. They're the whole power, and the hate is strategic, man. I mean, they're racist, and I think a lot of these white people that's down here in middle class, poor, and all that stuff, I think a lot of this hate comes from the need of superiority. You know what I mean? And the fear of inferiority, and it's like, and it's weird because it's like, you don't see all the victims too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're more victim. We're more victims, but it's also just kind of like you you guys are literally slaves to Elon and them, and you want
Literally.
to believe that if you get up every day, get up at 6 a.m., blah 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 blah, you're gonna be like them. You're not gonna fucking be like them. Sorry to break it to you, Jimmy, you're not.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry. You know, and I always hate people just think it's necessary at a
Right.
point. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that some people at this point believe that this hate is necessary.
Uh-huh.
I mean, shit, I had a friend that was trying to, and he's probably gonna watch this. He's gonna be mad at me, but I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna say, fuck it. He told, he believed that this war that's happening in the Middle East. You know what I mean?
Mm.
He believes that it's supposed to happen because, who the fuck, Israel? They're like, gosh, chosen people and all that stuff, and this war is supposed to happen. And there's, and in the Bible, so many times white people have used the Bible countless times to justify the oppression.
Mm.
And even then, we have black people sitting here waiting,
Right.
saying, hey guys, it's been 400 years. I'm telling you, we're going to rise up. We're going to rise up. Fuck, fuck that, bruh. Fuck that.
Exactly. You
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 know, I
just
don't understand it.
you can't justify oppression. You can't.
Because it's,
There is no justification for oppression or segregation or any of it.
and I mean, it gets to a point to where, and I think this is where, well, I hate using the word coons, but this is where coons come from. They believe that you have to put your own people down
That's where we Dinos come from. Hello.
like, to get to that point, and it's like, nigga, why? Why? It is literally a disease. It's a disease mindset, and I don't understand it.
Right. Because
And
if you as a brown person, as a black person, step into those white spaces, they're not gonna welcome you in. They're not. Even if you claim to have the same values and views as them, they're still not going to accept you. And you're still not going to be part of it. And you're still not going to reap the benefits. And even if you do, they're still going to look down on you, regardless. Because, again, these systems are created hatefully, strategically. That strategic hatred is what gets to each and every one of us. And it's awful. And it's very sad.
they'll love you if they can use you.
Mm-hmm. You'll be their poster child all day, every day.
Period. You see how they're doing MLK when he died?
Mm.
Shit.
Mm.
At the end of the day, that's all they're gonna use this for, And it's like, you. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, we have to learn how to live in this system and defeat the system at the same time. But it doesn't mean you have to
Conform to it.
participate in the
Right.
system. What I
Right.
mean by that is, you can make your money, do what you gotta do to survive. That doesn't mean you have to sit over here and spread more hate, aid in the oppression of your brothers and
Mm.
sisters and that shit. And you don't need to be doing none of that. That shit doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-mm.
And what, this came to mind for all the youngins out there. I don't know why I'm saying youngins like I'm fucking old, but
I feel old. Goddamn.
girl, bruh, for all the young people, if you want to sustain your passion for this movement and don't conform and don't become like the people that the coons and shit like that. If you don't want to become like that, let's be honest. If we don't want to do any of that, here's something that my friend has told me. It is not the hate or the sadness or any of that that's going to fuel you to keep going. It might make you start. You might see, you know what I mean, black people getting killed. You might see the injustice going on. You might be so angry, and that's what's getting you started. And you're starting running. But what's going to keep you going is love for your people.
Mm.
That's what's going to get you going.
Mm-hmm.
Because that anger, at one point, anger is not sustainable, bro. At one point, you're going to break down. But that love for your people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, that shit is going to take you fucking miles in life, bruh. The activists that are working today, the people that I know that are the most passionate, their fire has not burned out. Even the fucking older niggas that are still doing the work today, they're doing it because they love their people. And
Right.
they want to just all survive and get up there, bruh. You know what I mean? And when I say get up there, I don't mean to replace the whites in the hierarchy. We're not talking about, you know what I mean, black capitalism. We're not talking about any of that. What I mean is salvation of white people.
Right.
No more oppression of minorities, period. That love is what's going to sustain you.
Right. Whew. Jesus. I'm like, ooh, feeling it now. I realized that I put my poem here, and that's where my OBS was recording. So as we were talking, people couldn't see our faces. But the audio is recorded, which is fine. I'll just do like a still of us. Damn, I had one more thing for you before we move on to the next piece. Oh, I was gonna say, like, if fucking Shane Dawson can do it and like do docu-series and like blow up and like still have a life after all the bullshit that he put out, I can too. Like, I should be able to do docu-series on the shit that I'm passionate about, on the shit that's like impacting my community. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should be able to have a platform too.
For sure. For sure.
Anyway, I feel like that's a whole other issue for another day.
I'll go ahead and do this one. It's called Good Boy. And yeah, alright. I always have to be the good little black boy. Even when they lynch me, I dare not scream loudly. The mask that I wear is see-through, pretending while being. Articulating every syllable, I can't use a lick of slang. Step over the black bodies, the slaves who continue to say. Point to each one and teach the murderers why that was his fate. As they turn around eating on the plate of his pain. I'm the Tupac that starred in Above the Rim. Or perhaps I'm Zendaya in that show called Euphoria. I'm performing my pain for the enjoyment of my oppressors. I also have to be the good little black boy, never hanging with the gangbangers or drug dealers, staying my ass in school for generational wealth, learning how to work and ignoring my mental health. I was the good nigger getting all the good grades, while also being the one who became a slave. Jackson was a performer. Jackson was a slave to NASA. And unfortunately, I'm reporting to the same master. I was to be the good little black kid, the one who was black to the world around him, but white to the ones with similar but zealous eyes. I was the one who made it out, but behind me my people drowned. I'm Jesus to the one who wants to see us thrive. No wonder the me inside me died. I'm nothing but compilations of expectations. All right, that's it.
Woo! Hold up! Because I didn't know that's where we were going tonight. Oh my god. Shit. We just talked about this too. We just talked about this earlier on.
I know, bruh. That's all I was like, should I?
No. That Zendaya line was so good. Because, like, why? Any and all shows about black and brown people are, like, painful. It's just pain and us showcasing our pain. And I don't know if you saw, I was really sad when Gentefied on Netflix got canceled. And it's a show that does showcase some of our pain, because it's not that we live without it, and it's not that we want to, like, live blissfully and, like, are, like, we're not all pain and, like, we're sunshine and rainbows. Actually, like, it's not that. It's more so we want to be seen in a positive light. I don't want somebody down, like, walking down the street seeing me and they're like, oh, that girl, she probably goes through a lot. Like, I do, but I'm also a human full of joy and full of light and full of everything. And my culture enriches who I am. And why, like, if I am going to act on a television show, if I'm going to put my face on YouTube, I have to be like I hate my life and I want to die and, like, everything, drugs and alcohol and addictions, you know, like, versus I struggle, but I come out triumphant on the other side, and I've made it this far, and I still Like, I'm going back to school after not being in school for almost 2 years. Like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, all of these fucking things over and over. I'm connecting with my inner child by, like, being on Twitch and playing video games. Like, those are not stories that we uplift. Nobody's interested in hearing that. People want to hear, what's all the fucked up shit that's going in your life? And why is it because you're brown?
That last part. That last part right there.
Yeah. Okay. You have anything else on this one before I move into mine?
There's so much I can say. But
Please.
If you got any time, let's do it.
Okay, because I feel like now I want to do this other one that I've never done for anyone, because I feel like it's aligned. Okay. It's called Champion's Lament. I wonder, am I crazy or is this really going to work? And I pray, God, don't ever let them see me like this. I wonder, is this a fantasy I've created in my head? Is this really going to work? Am I really going to make a difference? I'm tired. I feel like I can't do it. I think I'm crazy. Then I remember who the fuck I am and I get back up. No, I am not crazy. No, I am not a failure. No, I am not looking too far into the future. You are small-minded and minute, immune to the fact that these kids need a champion. They don't need some person with a piece of paper shoving content down their throats, because the moment things get hard, watch how they run. Watch how they choose flight over fight. Watch how they make you look like the dumbass. Just wait and watch. Oh, wait. You should know, because that's already what you do anyway, right? I pray, God, don't let them see me like this. Because I may be one of the only people who's giving them hope. I may be one of the only people who has faith in them like this. A faith so strong that even I can't wrap my head around it. And no, I am not crazy. I am passionate. Oh, so that's what we're calling it now? Pasión. No, bitch! That's what it's always been. That's what it is, and what it should be. That and so much more. I pray, God, don't let them see me like this, broken down, feeling lost, wallowing in self-pity, letting the voices of privilege take over, letting them convince me that I'm not good enough, that I'm a rebel, that I'm a bitch, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Therefore, I am unfit and I don't know what I'm doing, that I'm a victim in need of saving, that I'm incompetent. I pray, God, don't let them see me like this. Don't let me fail them. I can't let them down. I can never be afraid. I can never admit to them how scared I actually am, because that pushes me to do even better, because I cannot stand for, I cannot breathe, I cannot digest, I cannot live in a world where I let fear stop me from being a champion. I pray, God, don't let them see me like this. Don't let them see me like this. Don't let them see me like this. Crying like this, because the only tears they have seen from me are tears of joy, because of how proud I am of them, because of how much their stories have touched my heart, because of how happy I am to see them every day, to be with them, because we are a family. Tears of laughter because of their silliness. Tears that escape my eyes when they finally realize that they are a champion too. God, please don't let them see me like this. Don't let them see me like this, crying in anguish, defeat, frustration, and fear. I'm so scared. I'm so scared because I'm not doing this like everyone else. Could it be that I'm doing it wrong? Could it be that I failed them already? Could it be that I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm causing them more harm? No. I'm standing up for what's right. I'm fighting on the right side. I am a champion. I am teaching them to never remain silent, to speak up when they witness injustice, to create with passion, to move forward even in doubt, and let all the negative energy feel the passion to do what's right. To connect their heart and mind in order to have a clear vision. I am. Even if I have to convince myself that I am. I may not have one yet, but oh God, I am a champion. I am. That is all.
I'm not even. The last one was great. This one was just speechless.
Oh, for context, I am someone who has been an educator since I was about 15 years old. I started at Sunday school every Sunday, almost every weekend, both Saturday and Sunday back to back. Since I was 15, I've been teaching Sunday school, and many times I was told that I wasn't doing it right. And that had a lot of like, I think we can get into that another day. I don't know if I'm ready to do that just quite yet. But a lot of like misogynistic undertones where I was trying to give women value and, you know, make sure that people knew that if you saw an injustice, you had to stand up against it. And a lot of times where I was told that I was too redundant or, you know, just wasn't doing that correctly. I've also done early childhood education. I've been a third grade teacher's assistant. I currently teach a video gaming elective to ninth through seniors now. Holy shit. Or no, seniors next year. But I have been an educator for a really long time, and I don't have the title. I don't have the title of an educator, and that's because the way that educators are taught to educate is so colonized, and I just can't. I've tried going through the programs, and I'm just not built for it. But I am built to educate. And anytime I've stepped into these spaces, I've noticed that the students, these young people, they gravitate towards me. Even if everything that we did in Future 10X, I was in my position for a reason. I got you, I got Malachi, I got, you know, I got all y'all, and I grabbed y'all and I put you under my wing because of this poem. And every time that you all would be like, Madi, you're so strong, Madi, you're so this, Madi, you're wonderful, and although that's beautiful and amazing, I was always like, God, please, in my moments of weakness, I was like, God, please do not let them see me like this. Because how do I tell you that this shit is so hard? That it's a constant loop of like, I live in the system while combating it, while trying not to be sucked in and trying not to be consumed by it. And it's so much of it is like faking your way through it and be like, no, I'm good, I'm great, I'm fighting the fight, and it's hard. The imposter syndrome, it eats you up. Throughout every single one of these episodes, because this is our final episode in the pilot season of Power to the People podcast, throughout every episode, every young person that I've sat down and talked to has talked about imposter syndrome. No matter how talented they are or how brilliant they are, they still don't feel like they're good enough. And that breaks my heart. Because there's a reason why I'm asking them to be on the podcast anyway. You really digging through the tunnels over there, huh?
Man, it's just, you know, I feel like the only thing I can talk about, you know, out of everything you said was the imposter syndrome. But I mean, I feel like we've already got through that, you know. That was literally in the poem I just talked about, you know, at the end. You know, where, I don't know, man. For me personally, it's just like, you feel like my family expects me to be the person that's supposed to take them out of poverty, take them out of and all that, you know. And it's like, literally, I feel, and that's why I said, and I referenced Jesus into my I feel like Jesus, you know what I mean, where I am literally having to destroy my health into myself for them. And it's like, I don't blame them, but I felt it so much last year. And on top of that, with my father dying and all of that weight being put on me, it was just like, I literally felt like I'm letting everyone down. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was just like such a big task, and I was like,
yeah,
my strong enough to even do it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel like I was supposed to be in this spot, you
Right.
know. My little sister looking up to me, and at times I would come home and I see her and I'm like, fuck, man, like I didn't feel like I was worthy of it. I was failing classes, you know,
Bro, literally.
and all of that. Not even because I was incompetent, because like I was going through shit as a not only one with my father dying, but two as a black man. I was
Right.
going through so much racism here, and at a point it took so much of a toll on me, you know, so much of a toll. And I don't know, I don't know, I can't. It's like I can't say at all that I relate to, because I feel like yours come from a different perspective of being an educator, where mine, I can only talk about being the person that my sister looks up to, and I'm the one who's supposed to be the example, pave the way, and sit down and teach her and all that stuff like that. And it's like I can never. I feel as though I can't ever tell her or let her see
Right.
my failures like that
Right.
or anything like that, because I'm supposed to be the person that inspires,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's hard, man. It's hard. I mean, at a point, I'll be honest. My family, the only one who knows about my poetry Instagram and who reads it is my little sister.
Ugh.
No one else, because I feel as though it's hard for me to open myself up like that to my family.
Mm-hmm.
All of that,
Oh, yeah.
you know. Because if I'm supposed to be this person who's,
I'm supposed to have my shit together, right?
yeah,
I'm the one. I made it out. But here I am. Here I am, Toni. I haven't graduated yet. I'm supposed to be graduating this semester. But I haven't been to school in 2 years. So this poem that and I love that you brought up like you referencing Jesus in your poem. This poem, when I wrote it, it was like a prayer, a plea to God. God, please don't let them see me like this. And it was like, don't let my family see me like this either. Because I'm supposed to be their champion too. And I'm feeling the effects of it now. Bro, my dad landed in the hospital. You know.
yeah.
He got COVID. He landed in the hospital. We didn't know if he was going to make it. Shit was rough. And now, every day... God damn it. Every day I beat myself up because I'm like, fuck. I should have been graduated. I should be graduating this semester so he could at least have something to look forward to. So that I could be graduating as the accounting major and going to that big corporate job and making all the damn money to get us out of the tight spot. To get us out of these medical bills. To be helping my brother to pay for his education too, because he's about to graduate this semester. And I failed.
And at a point, you feel helpless.
It's like, what do I do now? How do I help you? That's a lot of pressure. And in many ways, especially as the oldest child, that responsibility kind of just lands on you. And you're like, I didn't ask for this. And I don't know how. I don't know how to get you out of this. I don't. And at some point, when I become so weak, I have to fake it and I have to keep you, oblivious, and I can't tell you the truth, and I can't tell you how I'm feeling, and I can't tell you that I didn't go to school for 2 years, like, until we're in this situation where I'm like, actually, I'm not graduating soon.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. I mean, it just feels as though you're lifting the world on your shoulders. And at a point, it just feels too heavy to bear, man.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's like, you want to know something that's crazy? And I think I told this to I'm not sure if I told this to you or not, but you want to know the crazy thing is, the first time I've ever felt helpless in my life was at the time where it was last year, that whole year. And it was because of the fact of one, my father passed.
Right.
The two biggest things I felt was one, I couldn't do anything for my family, so that pain away. And two, I can't do anything to live up to that potential that he had for me, the idea that he had for me. And those are the two things that fucked me up the most.
Yeah.
Enough to where that was the first time in my life I actually cried in years. My best friends never seen me cry. And I remember so many times I broke down. And even this year where I'm not going to play everyone's business out there, but at least my mom put her business out there. My mom had a surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a bad heart. And it was like, if you don't get the surgery, you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
We were scared because we didn't know she was going to survive. And my mom sent me the information, all of that stuff to
Everything.
She put me for her will. She's like, you are handling everything, you put everything out there. And that was the hard thing for me because I was like, my mom passed. I'm not in the financial place or anything. I'm not even mature enough to be able to handle it. My little sister and all that. It was just like, what is there to do? And it feels like every day I'm running against the clock and I'm trying to prove that I'm the person that they wanted me to be. And that's what Good Boy was literally all about. It's literally me trying to fit into that mold and be the person that everyone wants me to be.
Right.
And I'm falling short every single time.
Hmm.
And I feel you when you said the whole part of you're supposed to be graduating and you're not. Like, I'm doing 5 years, bruh.
Right.
And they feel the same way. Like, I have, like, and they all minorities. My friend William, he's a fucking minority. And this motherfucker, he's like, nigga, I felt like 4 fucking classes. And I was like, why? He's like,
the world is burning. The world is fucking burning to the ground. Nothing is normal right now. How am I supposed to do this shit on a regular day? No pandemic. It's hard.
No one's taught us how to do this shit. We're just now learning. And people act like we're not supposed to make mistakes, and it's so hard. Like you said, it's like on top of it and anything like that, it's literally where at times I feel like everything is set against us. Do you know how many times I have been told that I'm only here and all the decisions I'm in because I'm black? I was told, oh, no one's at the right position because they needed a black person. I was told that I got my scholarships because I was black. And it didn't make sense to me. I was like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, this was a person I was met, a white girl, and she said, hey, you don't get that because you're black. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, they give scholarships to black people because of some of the fact of, like, you guys need money more than white people. They gave it to you because you were black. And at that point, I had to walk away.
Right.
I had to go to my friend. Because it just, everything comes down to, it's not, it's just like, it made me, at my point, I was like, well, how could you say that? But two, it's also just like everywhere I walk into, every room, no one sees how much I've done to get to where I'm at.
Right.
They only see my failures, getting color, anything like that. And this is just away from the imposter syndrome thing. It's just like that's all they see.
Yeah.
And that shit hurts. You know what I mean? That shit hurts at the end of the day.
Literally.
Because when you're here trying to fit into this mold that your family, your parents, and everyone has put on you, and you're trying your best to be the savior for everybody. and all they see is your mistakes.
Mm. Mm.
It's hard, you
Right.
know.
It's like, thanks for focusing on all the shit that I haven't done and all the things that you wish that I did that I didn't do rather than what I'm doing now. Um, I'm going towards media. I've been passionate about it since day one. I wanted to get a fine arts degree from the moment I thought about going to college. I wanted a theater degree, I wanted a media degree, and I denied it for so long. And now I've landed here. It like the universe could not send me more signs that this is where I'm fucking meant to be. And yet because I tried so hard to fit into something that I was not and something that I just wasn't meant for and I kept failing over and over and over again, that's the only thing people see. Rather than everything I do now. I didn't just drop 3K on a PC so that I could sit here and play video games all day. Although it is fun and like this is where I make my living now. And my living is media based and my living is non-traditional. But my parents aren't they don't see it. They still want their accountant. But she's not here. She never was. That was me trying to be something I was not, right?
Yeah. You know, I always like come back to this, and this just hit me just now, and it's just like, one day I just wish. I know this is probably, and I'm just talking to you about it. It's like you can do this on the podcast. I don't give a fuck. A lot of the stuff I've been talking about, it's not even like, it's just really just something I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing of just like, I wish one day I can truly be proud of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel that way too, but it's
Oh,
like,
for sure.
and what I mean by that is it's like I feel like in everything I do, I feel like I'm always just ready.
Mm.
I'm always just like in school, it's like, oh yeah, like the whole goal is to get the best GPA, you know what I mean? And and to get better and better and better and to graduate, and then
Mm-hmm.
next step. It's always the next step to make me more proud of you. And as a writer, the next step is to get the next milestone and this and that. And spirituality for me, it's like, oh man, like I want to get to this place and this place and this place. And it's like you're never satisfied because growing up, like I don't know if this is you, but growing up for me, it's like you always have to put in work. You have to get better, 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 better. And I've never actually in my life to this day have not been satisfied with myself or proud of myself at a point in time. I've never once looked at myself and said, you don't have another place to be.
Right.
I'm always thinking that you can be better. What are you doing now? This is, you know what I mean? I always see a part of myself that's inadequate, so to try to make that part adequate. And when I get to that next level, it's like, nah. So, and I'm on that journey, and I think the only thing that's helping me is my spiritual journey, for real, for real.
Mm.
Spiritual journey is helping me get there. It's I've only felt this happy in my life and this comfortable and this authentic because of that spiritual journey. But
Yep.
and you wanna know the craziest thing to me is the reason why I haven't been satisfied with my spiritual journey, satisfied, is because of the simple fact of, like my mom watches this podcast.
Oh.
Malachi, take this part out. Like everything else you can keep in, but just or bleep out. Ah, fuck. Okay. It's just it's the part that I feel like now am a disappointment to my mom and one of my friends. He's not a Christian. And that's one of the things that destroys me on the inside.
Felt.
And all the time, it felt like, of course, it's like the right road for me and everything like that. But all the time, I'm always, it just feels terrible.
Right.
You know, and it's like I'm always trying to justify that I'm not a fucking demon child and all that stuff. Even when I'm in private and I'm doing my terrorism, it's like I literally every night still pray to Jesus, and I emphasize his name every time I say, "In Jesus' name we pray." Amen. And you know why? It is not even the simple fact of I don't even think it's literally out of the whole thing of fear of damn, I don't want to be that disappointment or damn. You know, it's always in my mind of like, my mom's right. Maybe I am a child. You know, maybe I am the person that have. And I don't want to feel that way. And so I have to feel like I always have to compensate, bruh.
Right.
And that's the worst part. And that's why I say like I wish one day I can be satisfied and be comfortable with myself or proud of myself because I don't want to keep compensating.
Right. Is there a day where you just exist in your own views and values that aren't influenced by anybody outside of yourself, whether they're related to you or not? I feel it. I also stopped going to church, and I know some of y'all are watching because you do. Whether you want to admit it or not, you watch my every move. Somehow there is this obsession with Marielita and who she used to be. And little do you know that I have no idea who the fuck I am anymore. I never have. I've always played a character, played a role. And that's unhealthy for you. That's unhealthy for you as a human. We walk away from the things that are unhealthy for us. That is all. I don't think it's as complicated as we make it, or as complicated as religion makes it. I'm not walking away because I'm a demon child or because I lack faith. I simply do not fit into the role that you're trying to make me fit into. Point blank, period.
You know? Here's a message. Oh, go ahead.
It just feels conditional. Rather than being unconditional love, the love feels very conditional. Feels like, if you fit into this mold, I love you. But if you don't, then I'm going to question my love for you consistently. And I'm going to make you fully aware that I am questioning my love for you because you don't fit into this mold. I am questioning my acceptance of you, and I'm going to make you know it. And I am questioning how proud I can be of you because you don't fit into the mold. I feel you. I'm right there with you. But again, like, it was really shit to realize, I don't have a personality. The personality that I've been walking around with my entire life was curated for the people around me. And not for myself.
That right there.
Yep. Oh, Lord.
I just have a message to any of, and okay, first off, okay, don't take none of that part out. I changed my mind.
You change it. Okay, great.
Because here's a message I want to say. Everyone. And I'm saying this regarding to a lot of Christians out there who want to say shit. My mom, the Christian peeps, minus Christian peeps, who the fuck ever. I feel as though, and I can only speak from my experience. Looking at Monty, I have never seen her as happy, as accepting of herself, and as much as herself until now. Until she have given up Christianity and became who she really was. Monty is someone I deeply respect, admire, and love. And to criticize somebody for picking a different path than you, and to demonize it for the simple sake of it's not the same as yours, you're a hypocrite. I'm gonna say that right there. And I don't give a fuck if I make you mad. You're a hypocrite, and everything you preach, bullshit. If you're sitting here judging somebody or demonizing them just because they picked a different road, you don't even know half of what she is. You don't even know the true Mommy, and you want to judge her. You know, you don't even take the time to look into other people's religions or spirituality and learn it for what it is and accept it. You want to read what's on these other Christian sites and read a little whatever the fuck conspiracy theory you want to fucking read and believe. You don't know the half of anything. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. And if I'm being controversial, that's okay. You don't have to put this episode out. I'm sorry, but
You're good.
I'm just not gonna stay here and take it anymore. Because at the end of the day, I myself have never felt more authentic and more me and more happier than I am now. I have made strides in this past year. I am finally truly happy and truly myself. And the other thing that keeps swinging inside me is this is the right path. And I don't mean that just from me and my ego self or anything like that. I feel it deep in myself like something higher up is telling me that. And I will not have anyone else demonize me. I will not have somebody keep mad at me for taking up space in college. Oh, you only got that because you're black. No. No. You guys come amazing. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe being black is amazing and that's why I got it. Maybe being black is beautiful. Being black is intelligent. I got all this shit from being black. All this growth, all this maturity. All of it. It's a great thing. Don't never belittle me based on the color of my skin. Fuck you for that. Don't, it's just, that's all I gotta say. Fuck it.
Oh, you're right. We all just want somewhere to fit. We all just want somewhere to go where we could let go and not worry about shit.
Period.
Now that I've found that space, is that so wrong? Is that so bad? I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not. If anything, I'm serving community more than I ever have in my entire life now. Is that so bad? Just because I lack something that you need so desperately to survive, right? But it's not a lack. To me, it's not a lack of anything. It's just existing. Whew. I think we're all emotioned out to do 2 more pieces, so I will leave that for the next one and see when we can reconnect to continue to do this. I'm very excited to bring more youth poets onto Power to the Poet, Power to the People podcast. This is a great start, I think. This is like not exactly what I wanted it to be. It just gave so much more. It was like,
I'll be honest. This is gonna happen, man. It's gonna go how it goes.
She served. Queen came to eat. Yeah, Power to the Poet is gonna do very well. Especially with the people you know, with the people I know. It's gonna be great, and I'm very excited for future episodes. And I'm very excited to continue to do this with you, because I assume that it's just going to be myself and yourself for a while, before we get a few more people on here. But not that there's anything wrong with that. I enjoy conversations with you, and I didn't know how much I would enjoy conversations about poetry and our personal poetry with you. So I'm grateful, and I don't know what else to say. Do you want to say anything to close us out before I do our little outro?
Man, yeah. All right, fuck it. Love you, Monty. Thank you so much for approaching me with this opportunity. Like, I've never felt so comfortable performing. And just the fact that we can just vibe off each other, and it's turned more into just reciting poetry and talking about it, but it's been us opening up and, having real talk, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm excited to do more. You know what I mean? I'm excited to hear more poets. I'm excited to hear more from you, because, my God, your voice is powerful.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Everyone out there, please, if you have any poetry, even if you don't perform, even if you don't have any spoken poetry, like, if you want to come up here and perform, please hit us up and do it. If you don't want to perform, you just want to write, please let me know. I don't have a big following or anything like that, but I would love to support you, to read your stuff and all of that. And don't ever stop using your voice, and don't ever stop trying to find yourself, break barriers. You know what I mean? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being on Project BU. Fuck anybody who doesn't like that shit. Keep going, bruh.
Literally.
I believe in you. Proud of all of you Black and brown people. You know what I mean? And until next time.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure to follow our social medias, which you will see on this side of the screen. And yeah, like Toni was saying, hit us up if you want to perform and vibe with us as we talk about it. And hit Toni up if you just want a platform to share your poetry on if you're not so keen on performing. Power to the People podcast is a podcast created by young people, dedicated to young people, where you just have a space to be open and honest about all of the shit that we go through on the daily. Please hit us up on all our social medias that will be appearing on this side of the screen, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.